Originally, the character's name wasn't Harry. It was Humbert Mason. Humbert was taken from the main character of the novel Lolita, specifically the film adaptation by Stanley Kubrick, and the last name came from the actor who played Humbert, James Mason. What's creepy about this is the association. Humbert is a child predator who preys upon his own stepdaughter. What's worse, originally they wanted to name Cheryl Dolores, the name of the stepdaughter. This was apparently met with fierce opposition and was rejected, for good reason. It's unclear why they wanted to make these associations. Harry is nothing like Humbert. The name Harry was a nickname of one of the translators working on the game, and that's where the new name came from. It's a better fit. Harry is the short form of Harold, which comes from the Old English root words meaning army, power, and ruler. Harry in the modern sense can mean a commander or a protector, a guardian, someone who fights to protect others. He's a nonfiction writer, someone presumably intelligent and perhaps introverted. His colors are muted blues and browns. He doesn't stand out in a crowd. Harry comes to Silent Hill with his daughter for a vacation that goes horrifically wrong. We learn through the game that Cheryl, his daughter, is adopted. Yet, for his little girl who is not his blood, he braves the horrors of Silent Hill. There's another pair of parent and child figures in this game, Alessa and Dahlia. Throughout the game, the two pairs are compared and contrasted as we learn more of each, and it's revealed that Alessa and Dahlia are related. Dahlia lies and manipulates those around her. She uses and abuses her own daughter. Harry, on the other hand, sacrifices everything for his daughter, who is not of his blood. This game shows us what family really means. It does not mean blood relation. Harry isn't related to his daughter, but he is her father in every way. And the comparison between Harry, a good father, and Dahlia, a terrible mother, shows us what parenthood should be: selfless, loving, and empathetic. The fact that it's a father is a perfect subversion of traditional roles and societal ideas. To this day, the idea that a father is not as loving or as good a parent as a mother is prevalent in American society. One only has to look at the movie adaptation of Silent Hill to know. Should you watch the special features on the DVD, you'll learn that director Christopher Gahn's reason for changing the main character from a father to a mother was that he felt the character had to be a woman. That, in fact, a man would never have done these things. The idea is appalling. Of course a man can be like Harry. His existence as a character is proof enough. A mother is not the only loving parent, and mothers are not always good. The story of Silent Hill is proof that sometimes a mother can be abusive, and an adopted father can be the best parent there is. In their first meeting, Dahlia says that Harry must follow the path of the hermit to find his daughter. A hermit is someone reclusive and withdrawn, which many writers are often depicted as, but it's also one of the major arcana of the tarot. The hermit is the card of wisdom and knowledge. He carries the light of truth and the Star of Solomon. He's isolated on a far-off distant mountain, guiding the way for others. In the game, Dahlia uses Harry to lead Alessa into a trap. Harry appears in another Silent Hill game, the third game. In the beginning, Heather speaks to him on the phone. We don't hear him, and we never meet him while he's alive. The conversation is loving and kind. Heather expresses her failure to complete something her father asked her to do, and clearly Harry's reaction is gentle rather than scolding. This short scene shows us how even now, so many years later, Harry is still a loving parent who puts Heather first. This is even more apparent considering a diary kept by Douglas Cartland, in which he explains that Harry killed a man, a member of the cult, in order to keep Heather safe. Killing monsters is one thing, but Harry killed a human outside the town to protect his daughter. In Silent Hill 3, Harry is not a character, he is a motivation. He dies before we ever meet him. The game is about the horror of loss and the pains of growing up, and how sudden and terrible loss can be. Nothing is more poetic an example of this than introducing the main character of the first game, only to kill him. The player never gets to speak to him or see him, and so we feel the loss just like Heather does. His body is found seated in a chair, and given the room around him, it's clear he was not killed here. He was killed elsewhere and moved here, most likely by Claudia. Possibly, he was drawn into the other world and killed there. Interestingly, the position of his body is an eerie mirror image of James from Silent Hill 2. His death is a tragedy. It is heartbreaking for Heather, and is presented in a solemn and heartfelt way. Heather lays him to rest in his room. The flowers placed on his chest are lilies. The white color represents innocence in some Western cultures. In Japan, it's a color of death. The white lily is typically said to symbolize virtue and innocence, and is the flower of the Virgin Mary, the Mother of God. While we don't meet Harry, we hear his voice in the game, in the letters, notes, and memos left behind by him. We learn about his conflicts, how he first feared his child, unsure of who she really was. His notes are heartfelt, honest, and full of love and the pain of a father who tried his best in a terribly difficult situation. It makes him so sympathetic and shows us the fullness of his character. Most children grow up only thinking of their parents as mom or dad, not as humans with flaws. Heather is learning the truth about her father and herself. The game, like Silent Hill 1, flips tradition on its head. Many games, especially in the early 2000s and before, used female characters as motivation for male protagonists. It's much rarer to see it happen to a male character, especially someone like Harry, the first protagonist of the first game. Writers often use women as plot devices because most cultures are conditioned to see some people as more worthy of being loved or saved. Girlfriends, wives, sisters. Men are almost never given that treatment. They are the action heroes, the rescuers. When will we see a story show us a male character as kind, gentle, devoted, and wrongly cut down? An angelic figure who we must avenge. Silent Hill 3 does that. Between the third title and the original, these games flip so many tropes on their heads. Ideas of motherhood, fatherhood, ideas of gender, and the concept of family are all re-examined in a new light. Harry is the ideal father. In Silent Hill 3, the player and Heather have to learn to let him go, just as all children are eventually forced to part with their parents. Of course, this is Silent Hill, and things are hardly that clear-cut. In the other world, Heather can find a room that is a replica of Harry's, where she set his body. The bed is empty and covered in blood, and there is a trail of blood leading from the bed, and dead flowers are spread on the floor. Possibly, this implies that some version of Harry still exists in this other world of Silent Hill.